if you earn £100 per customer and your cost per acquisition is £5 and Google put the price up and it goes up to £10, you're still going to pay it because you want that customer that's going to pay you £100. So it's still going to have to do it. Hello and welcome to the InGear Media Podcast. I'm Mackenzie, this is George, and today we're talking about the state of marketing as we approach, or now that we're in 2020. What are the trends? What's going to improve? What do we think is going to get worse? And basically, where do we think it's important that you spend your time and budget when it comes to marketing for this year, certainly as it looks at the moment. So, George, where do you think we should start?
Well, we was watching a video the other day, wasn't we, around blogs and how they're not quite as dead as we thought they were last year, maybe. And he said, what did he say?
So it was Neil Patel's video. We watched really good content from Neil Patel, by the way. Definitely recommend watching his stuff. So his talk, he mentioned that there's now 7 billion people in the world and 1 billion blog sites.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's 1 billion different blogs out there. So literally one blog for every 7 people. So really, there's a lot of blogs, and it means that it's definitely not the number one thing that I would be telling people that you need to be doing. But at the same time, I think this is where how you do it is probably changed a little bit. So we talked about refreshing content, didn't we? So actually going back through your old blogs and refreshing them, updating them with latest figures works really well as getting some good engagement and SEO. But also because there's just so much of it, the actual demand for them, I guess, is a bit less.
The demand for new content is actually less than it used to be. Yeah. Whereas now people actually want to see the new content, the new up-to-date figures.
Yeah.
Because you can have a blog that is good, but then it's outdated in a few years or a few months, and people just want to see it updated, constantly refreshed, don't they?
Yeah.
It's not relevant anymore.
But then from the other point of view, if you're just starting out, I wouldn't say that that's the best place to go either. You really want to be looking at videos or podcasts, like what we're doing now, as creating content that's actually of use to people, valuable, and going out there. Traditionally people would get new customers from a blog. They would come onto a blog site, read some articles. Maybe you've done a helpful how-to guide, some information about your product, or perhaps it's just simply entertaining, like a good read.
Yeah, a good read, which is also really hard to do nowadays.
Yeah,
which is such a short attention span, don't they?
Yeah.
And nowadays, like the focus completely switches now on social media. People are scrolling through. They have the attention span of a few seconds, and if it doesn't catch their eye, that's it.
Yeah.
You've lost them.
So to get, again, it goes back to the point, to get somebody even on your blog in the first place now is hard work, unless you sort of already jumped into that field, 10 years ago, even as far back as that, people sort of earlier started blogging. So it's important, I think, to refresh it, to update it. It's still important to do it, but I would say it's important to do it because of your website search engine optimization. There's lots of keywords in blogs, particularly if you're savvy about the way you write them and what you say and what you do. So it's definitely worth doing still as we move into 2020. But at the same time, if we're looking to start from afresh, we need to be looking at other tactics for people to get their name out there.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you consider that 80% of all traffic online is video nowadays. So to be focusing on writing blogs is basically just backwards, but it doesn't mean it's not important.
Yeah. So okay, we say video then. What should people be spending their money on in terms of video creation, video content?
Well, video is easy to do, isn't it? Everyone's got an iPhone. Whether you're a small business, big business, it's really easy to do video, isn't it? You can take a selfie, you can video what you're doing. Instead of just taking a picture, you take a video now, don't you? Because it's better, it performs better. People want to see video, people want to see what's actually happening live. It's more interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that again is the point. We use cameras and lighting and stuff, but that's what we do for a living. Exactly. That's what InGear Media does. But there's absolutely no reason, and I butt heads with clients sometimes over this fact, but literally your phone, a quick selfie, hey guys, I'm doing this today, did you know X, Y and Z, whatever it might be. It's so easy to put stuff out there. And I think that the toughest point for a lot of people is just jumping that hurdle of just doing it. You have to just get on with doing it, get it out there, and if it doesn't work, you can try it again. You can, it's only a social media post.
Yeah, people are so reluctant though, because obviously small business, it's their baby, it's their child. They don't want to put across the wrong image, when in reality it's not actually that important. Social posts, they don't really stay relevant for a long time, do they? They're there, then they go back to the bottom of the feed and that's it. If you only really see it if you want to go back through someone's feed, find their old videos. Whereas putting like new stuff constantly, like every week, every day, every hour, it's important because content's content. At the end of the day, people see it, and you go viral.
Yeah.
Get new leads. It's easy.
And what do you think is like the best way then for people to do it? What are they looking for? What sort of video should they make? What should it be about?
Well, it can be anything kind of really, but I think how-to videos are really good. General just updates with the business. You know, your day-to-day running, people want to see a bit behind the scenes, don't they? They like that gritty. I think almost if your videos are too professional, too well done, too well polished, it kind of, you lose touch with your customer a bit. And people they don't really trust you. They think, oh, what you're actually doing, what are you really up to? Whereas you put raw content out, if you have a car garage, for example, you're posting videos of your problems that you've had maybe, or how to do something really simple yourself. So it's not actually always driving people to your business, it's also helping them out in their day-to-day life, saying, you don't actually need to come to us all the time, do you? Because you could do this yourself, really. If you
so really adding value.
100%. Yeah.
Add value to your customers' lives, and you know they will thank you for it. And it's always an interesting topic for me. But working in marketing is so often we say marketing, but what people really mean is sales. You know, they talk about selling. They want to do a video to sell. The best thing for me to say to explain it and for people is think of yourself as a media company. You know, think of yourself as the magazine or the TV show that people want to buy and want to watch, and then you will then start already coming up with content ideas. I think that make more sense.
Yeah, because it's a pastime, isn't it? Social media. People do it when there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily go out their way to go and look at X, Y, Z business. Yeah. They just see it and they're interested.
And I think as now in 2020, I really hope this is the year that, you know, people stop trying to sell so much. People don't want to be sold to. We're all customers. We know what it's like to see an advert or a pop-up on a website trying to sell you this, sell you that, download this, sign up for that. We don't want that. We want content.
Yeah.
We want to add value, and I think the more people get on board with that, the better they'll do.
I think it's also really important to feel valued as well as a customer, as opposed to just valuing a brand and their values. You also want to feel like they value you and they want your business, but they're not going to force it on you, because there's nothing worse than being forced on you, is there? Saying buy this, but you don't want to, and people like to think that they had a choice, even if it's good marketing. You don't really have a choice. It's subliminal. It's always there. Whereas, I don't know, if you feel like you've made that choice, you've gone, yeah, I want that because of this. Whereas, I don't know, you definitely value what you get more, don't you?
No, I think you're spot on. It actually leads into. I made a note of before we started chatting. You mentioned brand loyalty, didn't you? What was your thoughts around that? Because I think that would be a great thing to just sort of discuss for a minute. What is brand loyalty?
Yeah, I think brand loyalty is so important, especially going to 2020 and the future. If things stay as they are, obviously we've spoken before about Alexa and voice searching, and how brand is really the only thing that you have when it comes to, if you're just thinking about solely voice search, because you have no images, you have no cool graphics, no cool videos. You just have brand loyalty. And if people want to go to you as a business, then they'll choose you as a business from the past experiences.
You better hope they do.
Yeah. Otherwise, then where do you go? Where do you sit?
Yeah.
So I think it's quite interesting to see how loyalty will change, because it's more than just a transaction nowadays, isn't it? It's trust. It's all these other things that customers value.
I think, and again, I think that's such a good point about voice, and I think we'll come back to voice in a minute. 'Cause for me, I don't think 2020 is probably quite the year of voice, but I think there's a lot coming in that space still to be aware of, at least. But yeah, we'll come back to it. But I think for me, brand loyalty really, when you asked me to think about it before, it kind of comes down to trust. Do I trust that brand? And if I do trust that brand, I'm probably willing to be a bit more relaxed, a bit more forgiving if something goes wrong. I'm also definitely more willing to spend more with that brand. If I trust them, because I know it's good, I know it's quality, I know it's what I look for, and if their brand values are aligned with what I believe in, then great. If I'm into sustainability and there's a trainer company that makes sustainable shoes, that's something I could buy into. and then from their branding and their content point of view, they could obviously talk about the process of making those shoes and how sustainable it is, and that would be an interesting video and a how-to or how it's made, and you can sort of see how that type of content would resonate with someone that has that sustainability view.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess that goes to, how do we think then, if somebody's watching, they have a business, they have a brand, or they're trying to grow a brand, how do they get trust? How do they get that sort of relationship really with their customers?
Well, obviously trust takes a long time to build, doesn't it? I think it comes down to the customer themselves, and people always go back to word of mouth is such an important way of selling, isn't it? Because I would trust you more than I would trust I ran a video on Facebook, for example, because obviously
I'm sure about
that. A bit dodgy sometimes, but yeah. But for sure, I mean, you see testimonials, you see reviews on what's the thing?
TripAdvisor, Trustpilot, yeah, Trustpilot.
Yeah, you trust those more. I mean, loads of people, they will go on Amazon reviews before they even consider the product, because that is more important to them, what other people think, as opposed to how good the product actually is. So a few bad reviews can actually completely stain someone's reputation, when it doesn't necessarily need to be true.
Yeah, it's a good point, and I think a lot of people can worry about that as well, going onto these review sites and opening themselves up because of that fact they could get bad reviews. But I would also just make the point that actually 1 or 2 bad reviews can be a really good thing, which sounds really weird to say, but if you get a bad review and you are seen to respond to it, deal with it, and potentially then contact that person and do something to turn it around, make up for it, whatever that might be, what type of compensation you do, or give them a voucher, or however that is for your business, do that. And if you can be seen doing that, or at least acting on it, that can actually really help make you seem more reputable as a company. Because again, Trustpilot do have problems with some people, some companies buying reviews. That happens. So that's where again it's important. I guess we talk about omni-channel marketing, which is another thing that's going to come up in this talk. That you need to be everywhere. You need to have Facebook reviews, Google reviews, Trustpilot reviews. You need to have Google business reviews, as well as all the other stuff, across all these sites. If you're a hotel or restaurant, you need to be on TripAdvisor and getting reviews on there. You have to be responding to those reviews. Yeah,
that's so important as well, I think, just responding and being that face for the customer, because obviously they don't know you.
Yeah.
And if they've never been to you before, why should they go to you? And selling out to them is all about how you interact with your past customers, as well as with them and how you treat them. So I think honestly it goes back to just those core brand values that everyone's had for years and years and years. It's just customer first, customers always right. Those kind of things, they always resonate really well with people, because they like to be treated well. Everyone does, don't they?
And thanks to the internet, the world becomes a smaller place. I could travel halfway around the world and still know which restaurant I want to go to, based on what I see on this thing.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with technology these days. He always takes the piss out of me for it, but so reviews are something that perhaps we probably haven't discussed that much recently, but it is still a very important aspect to make sure you're on relevant review sites and actively asking for reviews. Now I say that sort of in quotes, because there's a right time to ask for reviews as well. Usually just after you provided hopefully a good service is a good time to say, hey, do you mind giving us a little review?
Yeah.
Always need to make sure you're very open about how long that's going to take as well. If it is just going onto Google or Trustpilot, then great.
Clicking 5 stars, or if it's more in depth.
Yeah. Okay, well that's that. I mentioned omni-channel then, so I guess that kind of moves forward to the next point of being everywhere at all times. It always amazes me how when people are setting up a business or they're looking at marketing, there's this big discussion about, should I be on LinkedIn, or should I be on Twitter, or should I be on Facebook, or TikTok's of course a growing platform now.
Yeah.
And I don't. For me, it's a no-brainer. The answer is always yes. Yes.
Why not? Because it's the harm in being everywhere. If it doesn't work out, then you can scrap it, can't you?
Yeah.
It doesn't cost anything to be anywhere on social media. It's free. If you're making the content for LinkedIn, just spend those extra 10 minutes and optimize it for Facebook as well.
Yeah.
There's no harm in doing it.
Yeah, that's the thing, and then that leads into this view again of, we don't really have time, we don't have budget for that. But it's like, I guarantee you, if you are not putting budget into content marketing in some way, shape or form now in this modern age, then you will lose. You might be a massive company and some of them are taking so long to adjust that they can afford it for a while, but they will eventually lose. And that's always to it. The data, the trends, everything you can just see. That is how these unicorn companies appear. Your Ubers and what else? Airbnbs. What is it? The platform? I think it's called Wish.
Oh yes, for like the cheap.
Yes, Wish, where you can sell things online. Wish actually the only thing they spend marketing budget on was Facebook ads.
Yeah, and you can tell.
And I couldn't tell you whether it's billions or $1 million revenue, but it's good.
It's healthy.
Yeah, it's a very healthy business, and it's actually not really that old.
No.
And it just shows the success that these things can have. And if you are putting money into these things and it's not working,
then you change up your strategy.
Change what you're doing. Yeah.
There's so many.
Facebook's not rubbish.
No, there's so many different avenues you can go down, isn't there? You go straight for just ads into Facebook. You go to influencer marketing, like landing pages, SEO. Like there's so many different stuff, and it's just content always. Whether it's you making it or someone else referring you, it's just always content.
Yeah, and I think as well for a modern day business, the head of the business has to have at least some grasp of what is good and what's bad content, and I mean that in the sense of whether somebody's really doing the job well or not. It can't be a wheel your niece in who's quite handy at social media and let her have a look at your social profiles. It needs to be you, the business owner,
having your say in it.
That's going to at least take charge of it in some respect, because for me it's as important as knowing how to do the numbers in your business, knowing how to tell whether you've made a profit that year. You need to know whether your social strategy is working. So it's definitely growing in terms of content marketing. More and more people are doing it. We've touched upon ads now, and I think so. We need to be in all the different channels. Was the sort of the key point there, wasn't it?
Because why not?
Because why not?
Yeah.
I think actually before I do move on, yes, LinkedIn is going to be better for B2B. Yes, if you're selling to 15, 16 to 20-year-old girls, you probably are going to do well on TikTok.
Yeah.
Or Instagram, but you're going to have to spend more on Instagram now because Instagram is declining in its organic reach massively, it feels like, at the moment.
That's quite interesting as well, though, because you see as these bigger companies start to finally move over to these social platforms and spend money on there, everything else is now going to rise. So to actually promote your brand or your video into the social media world is going to cost more now because people didn't catch on to the trend as early as they could have done, and now they're going to be punished and have to pay more to actually break through the noise, just like it was on TV. Because now, if you look at that, that's now thousands and thousands just for a 30-second slot.
You pay for it.
Yeah.
And it's one video that you make for that advert that goes out to a whole TV audience. All right, it'll be a little bit targeted because of the show you're watching.
Yeah. But
you could make 100 videos on Facebook that are all slightly different, but it's literally, instead of starting it with hello, you start it with hello Instagram, hello Facebook, hello TikTok, or if you're targeting people that live in Milton Keynes, we had a meeting in Milton Keynes last week, so it's in my head. If you target people that live in Milton Keynes, hello Milton Keynes, that's that advert. Hello London, that's that advert. Throw my pen around.
And it's so much more effective because it resonates with you instantly.
And cheaper.
You're a bit like, whoa, how did he know that? They must be good. They know that stuff. They know me.
Yeah, and it's scarily easy to do that type of stuff now.
Easy.
Scarily easy. If you want to look up, creating target audiences on Facebook, or retargeting people that have viewed a piece of content on your website, that's the even better thing. Retargeting continues to improve. Although there is definitely some news around that at the moment. Actually, in 2020, retargeting uses third-party cookies, which Google Chrome has just recently said they're going to phase out, allowing third-party cookies through between now and 2020. So not happening overnight, but certainly something that Google are clearly sort of pushing towards, and that's really because they're sort of setting up their own developer tools and ad tools that I guess they're going to want you to use.
Of course. I'm probably not for, but
and it's always a reminder sometimes that how much we are at the mercy of some of these
big corporations,
giants like that, and you have to kind of adapt.
But that's what's so interesting, isn't it? Because Facebook ads or any ads have just changed so much. within such a short space of time. Like if you compared ads now to 6 months ago, they would be completely different. So you have to just stay on top and always be learning and always be catching on to the trends. Because if you miss it by a month, then it's money wasted.
Yeah, you've got to have your finger on the pulse the whole time. I think that's where people do turn to agencies like ours, because then you've got someone that's on top of that the whole time, or at least we try to be.
I mean, we're not doing our job if we're not. So.
Yeah, because it is hard, but I think there's, like I say, it's certainly important that each business owner is, thinking about it as well. And just to highlight the Google Ads power, I guess, as we rounded off last year, that continued to be the best converter out of all channels, so Google AdWords, and it was, where did I write it down? 1.89% of Google ad reach was converted.
Wow, okay.
So, we always know that a conversion rate in this industry is low.
Yeah, always.
Low number. That's of course as good as it. That's a good average at 1.89%.
Very good average.
But yeah, I guess doesn't normally deal with that type of stuff. They might think, wow, it's as little as that. But of course, when you're running ads to thousands or tens of thousands of people, 1.89% can still be pretty good.
Well, if you think about traditional TV ads, they obviously don't convert that much.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't spend 10 grand on and reach 1 million people and then get 20,000 people.
And you can't track it as easily as well. But that compares then, the next one down was Facebook ads at 1.4%. But I also found it interesting when we started looking into like revenue that people like Google ads generate. And it just shows the popularity of it and how powerful it is. So back in 2006, they've been around for a few years still at this point.
First launched?
No, it's still been around for a few years. I think it was early 2000s, like maybe even just the year 2000 or 99, something like that. But really, it was quite unknown until sort of late noughties sort of thing. But anyway, it still made 10.6 billion back in 2006. But that was that then continued to grow tenfold year on year throughout a recession. So, and I think that also is where people sometimes get a bit confused about pulling budget from things. But actually, if you earn £100 per customer and your cost per acquisition is £5 and Google put the price up and it goes up to £10, you're still going to pay it because you want that customer that's going to pay you £100. So you're still going to have to do it,
and you're still always going to be profitable from it. Because if you're spending whatever, but you're also always getting £90 profit from that customer, even if the price is more.
So it's eating into your bottom line, but at the same time, you're still going to do it. But anyway, so in this downward market, all the way through to now, it's gone up every year, and it's now 2018, 136 billion of revenue gone through Google AdWords.
In 1 year.
In 1 year, yeah. And that moves me on to kind of my next point really for 2020 is that as more and more companies move over to these things, and I mean big companies.
Yes.
We've discussed this again a fair bit, but when the Mercedes, the BMWs, or the Nikes, or the Adidases start bringing their £1 billion budgets or £100,000 budgets, whatever it is, and the more that starts piling into this machine, the costs are just going to continue to rise for us little guys. Yeah. So that's where we have to jump on this stuff early. I can't express enough how important it is that you jump on these trends early.
It also shows the importance of organic content as well, though, because content doesn't always need to be boosted or have money behind it to do well. Good content is always good content. If you're providing value, then you can break through the noise because people actually enjoy your content, and they'll always react better to good content than paid content that's forced upon them.
Yeah.
So it just shows again the importance of just doing it and just making content on this omni-channel platform.
And that's the point. Just get out there, do it, make content. Yeah, make and do, over and over, because it can't really. It's hard to find negatives in it. Like you say, you just got to get out there and do it. Now that doesn't mean you're going to post 10 posts and suddenly be Insta famous or TikTok famous.
Although
you could be, particularly on TikTok. It's crazy what goes on in TikTok at the moment. I mean, I still, it's making me feel old going through it, but I have to just sort of adapt and think about it. But what's really interesting as well is by jumping on these new platforms early, like TikTok, is that it teaches you stuff about how to make for other platforms. You know, we've done some posts towards the end of last year on TikTok, and it was that one where they go bippity boppity boo and then you transform into something.
Unbelievably cringe, but it was
very cringe. Yeah. If you scroll through our Instagram feed back a bit, you'll soon find it.
Although don't.
Yeah, don't.
We don't.
But we did that, and that's the point really. Is it come from TikTok to Instagram to Facebook, and it kind of gives you ideas, I guess, just to shake things up on different platforms. So it's really, even if that platform doesn't work for you, you will potentially learn how to make something.
And there's
better.
always the opportunity that it does work for you, and it makes you billions and billions of dollars.
But yeah, back to the first point. A lot of people do this. They post 10 things, or they work with us for a couple months, and we do a few months worth of posting stuff for them and setting up a social strategy, and it doesn't kick off straight away and set the world on fire. Surprise, surprise. And then they give up. And like I say, all right, with us as customers and clients, fine, but I mean, even just doing it on their own.
Yeah, they just give up.
You can't. It's not going to happen overnight. You just have to keep chopping away at it.
Yeah, it takes a long time to build a trustworthy and loyal audience, of course.
Yeah, and in fact, it goes back to that point earlier of brand loyalty, doesn't it? Like you said, and I think, trust is earned, not bought. Yeah. So, over time, by answering customer questions, creating good how-to videos, entertaining them, not selling to them.
Give, don't sell.
Give, don't sell. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that kind of covers off quite a nice chunk of it. We had a couple other topics that we wrote down, I think, to talk about. Voice, definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's loads of other stuff that's, I think we sort of mentioned blogs are important. Chatbots and emails. Emails are still important. Chatbots are growing. Yeah, using push notifications.
Yeah, both of them actually. But they're like older forms of marketing, aren't they? But they're also still very effective. People seem to overlook email marketing nowadays and notifications, things like that, when they actually do quite well.
Yeah.
Although the open rate of an email is not as good, the conversion rate still might be just as good as it was 5-10 years ago.
Yeah. And again though, even if you send an email to 10,000 people or 1,000 people or even 100 people, it doesn't matter as long as you're doing it. And if 2 people open that email out of the 100. And one of them becomes a customer, then you've got to weigh up, is that worth it for you? And chances are it's probably yes. Secondly, have you been trying it for long enough, or have you just sent 3 emails and gone, oh, well, that's rubbish?
Yeah, doesn't work.
Yeah, so again, it's doing all of these things all of the time.
Yes, consistently.
And that's another way to build brand loyalty, is just by being consistent. We always set up a weekly plan for our clients, for example, don't we? So again, what do you post on a Monday versus a Tuesday versus a Wednesday, at what times a day? Now that should be absolutely free form to still be adjusted, and if you have a cool thing that comes up, absolutely post it.
Yeah.
But at least as a guideline, there's rough stuff that goes on the same days, and that always helps just create consistency, and it feels more professional then as well. So that's a good start, I think, for people that are early on into this type of thing. But yeah, I think just to sort of wrap things up, then we'll go and talk about voice for a little bit. There's plenty of other topics, but I always like to keep these things short and sweet. So, voice then. What's your thoughts on voice as we move into this year?
Voice is very, very scary, I think, for a lot of people. It's quite gimmicky at the moment.
Maybe clarify what we're talking about by we say voice. Obviously, we're talking right now, we don't mean that.
So, hi Siri.
Hey Siri.
Hey Siri.
Now my Siri's woke up.
It's all kicking off. But yeah, so voice search, Alexa, hey Google, Google Home. I don't know what other brands do it. But yeah, those, if you're sitting in your living room, hey Alexa, what is the capital of Belgium? And it will tell you. So voice search, voice communication, using voice as well to
Brussels.
Thank you, thanks Alexa. to like power your home, to integrate with your home. But like Alexa, turn the lights on, and they turn the lights on. Stuff like that. It's all gonna kick off, I think, very soon. If not this year, definitely in the next.
Well, that's what we're using it for now, and this is why I don't think voice is going to take over just yet. But you need to be aware of voice, particularly voice search. So to quote one of Neil Patel's videos again, he was saying that it's estimated that 50% of all searches could be as much as 50%. By the end of this year of voice searches. That was based off actual data, proper data that he'd found, and from reports. But I'd be surprised if it is quite as high as that. But I can totally see how. Particularly I know members of my family that would talk to Siri and search stuff that way. So every time you ask them a question, they're going through a search site for most of that. And any sort of like off-board functions for the phone, I guess, is what's the weather over here, what's the weather over there. That's a search. So if you think about it that way, you probably do that. I certainly ask what the weather is every now and then.
Yeah, but you don't always think of it as a voice search or using voice. It's just the thing. That's the thing. It becomes normal, doesn't it? Just as social media has become normal, where it was quite alien a few years ago.
But yeah, where that gets scary with voice search gets scary when you imagine your brand being searched for. That's great.
Yeah.
But to go back, you did start to say it earlier, but actually it's scary because if I don't search for a brand and I say, "Hey Alexa, send me some jam," I want some jam posted to me. You probably think of 10 million other better things, but jam.
I know. Jam.
I'm then at the mercy of that voice device, Google, Amazon, whoever it is, at which jam they send me.
Yes.
Now, I don't know about you, I don't want to be trying to bid to be the result that they go to. They'll probably go to somebody who they're partnered with, a company that they own, or, like I say, a hugely expensive ad fee to be the jam that gets sent. Whereas if you've been building an audience, you've got a good brand
on your jam,
you've got your podcast about jam that you talk about every week.
Your jam, your process of putting your jam.
How you make your jam, why you've got the finest strawberries and raspberries in your strawberry and raspberry jams, blackcurrants grown from your garden, based off a plant that your grandma gave you whatever. That story, if somebody's bought into that and they go, "I want John Smith's jam."
Thanks, John.
Equally generic name. John Smith's jam, not just any other jam.
Yes.
Then Alexa has to send you that jam.
Because you've asked for it, you've specifically requested that jam because you like and you believe in their brand.
Yeah, because you like that brand. Yeah. And it goes back to that trust thing again, and the loyalty thing. If I know that brand's values are aligned with mine, then I'm probably going to buy from them. Yeah. So, okay, well, there you go. We're already probably running over longer than we wanted to with that. There's plenty more stuff we could.
So much stuff.
We'll probably do 2020 Mark 2 or Video 2 in the next couple of weeks. So look out for that. We'd love to know what you think of these, by the way. It's a fairly new thing that we've started doing for this year. We're kind of putting our money where our mouth is a little bit and diving into this stuff. So any comments about stuff that you want to hear, be told, so on, let us know. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you soon.